One of the most amazing peak states that I've had was one actually I was born with. Native Americans call it the beauty way, or walking in beauty. In it, you feel alive inside yourself, and everything around you feels alive. Everything has a sense of beauty about it. You look to yourself for guidance instead of people outside yourself. When you're in that particular state, life's worth living. Peak states of consciousness are intrinsically positive. You're actually operating in ways that you were designed to be like. And you're supposed to be like that all the time. So you would become more functional, not less functional. In fact, that's how you can tell if it's a peak state, because you become more functional. And along with that, you feel better inside. It adds to your life. It just doesn't take away a problem, but it actually adds a feeling or an experience. For example, continuous happiness, that's a peak state. When I first started this work 25 years ago, the dominant model was that people were just sort of everyday ordinary, and something would happen for whatever reason. They did some psychological work, they took drugs, they climbed a mountain, they did a 10-mile marathon, whatever it was that they did, and they'd have a momentary peak experience. But then they'd fall back into just being ordinary again. So that was the model that I had, that I grew up with. But it turns out what we found is that's not the case. We should actually have a bunch of different states all the time, because actually it turns out that the states correspond to the correct functioning inside our cells. So there's a biological basis for the states that has to do with how well our cells are functioning. If it's functioning in a particular way, we feel it as a particular peak state. What we found is that trauma was really important for having peak states of consciousness. It wasn't so much trauma in our lives, maybe when we were a kid, it didn't matter. What was really important was trauma before we were born. And not only just random trauma, but trauma at key moments in our development where our organism got more complicated. So if you tie back into the biological model, these were moments where our cells started doing something new. And if that went smoothly and well, when we're born we have the peak state. Unfortunately, as you know from your own experience, most people have had something go wrong at a small degree that actually inhibits these states. There's been more of a focus on actually bringing people into peak states, not just in our little institute, but all over the world. Positive psychology has started to become popular. People are actually looking at this question of how can people live better? Not just removing problems, but actually feel in ways that they've never felt before.